Super awkward FUN-CHIVE. You're listening to the Super Awkward FUN-CHIVE. Yeah. Welcome to the Super Awkward FUN-CHIVE. I think this is episode 20. I'm not
you can hold all the way over there.
really sure. I will put it up to you soon. Hold on. Okay, so in true Super Awkward FUN-CHIVE fashion, my computer has decided to be a total dick and not let me access my microphone. So we're doing this on...
accessing itself.
We're doing this on my phone. So we're here with the lovely Steven Robles.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Never say good morning to Elle, by the way, just so you know. You say good morning to her.
She'll write a song.
There will be a whole thing that happens.
Yeah, I wrote a song after someone said good morning to me at work, and
like
it was
the most depressing song of all time.
the most depressing song of all time that I think a lot of people can relate to. This episode is going to run the gamut, I think. A lot has happened.
They usually run these. Usually they run the gamut.
Yeah, a lot has happened in this dystopia lately. So a lot of people. Okay, we should start with Miss Priss, number 2, because there's a number 1 Miss Priss for me.
What's Miss Priss?
Miss Priss number 1 is Hillary Clinton. Miss Priss number 2 is Elizabeth Warren, who wishes she was Hillary Clinton.
What's Miss Priss mean?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know.
That's just what I call them. Anyway, Miss Native American 2018.
You know, I like her. I still like her. I like her because...
A lot of people like her. I still don't
There's
get
still
it.
plenty of evidence that shows that she's a normal human.
But this was not the evidence that we needed.
No, this Indian thing, I'm sorry, Native American.
Yeah.
I, by the way, am half Native American, and I call myself an Indian, and my relatives call themselves Indians, but whatever.
It's based on whatever you feel.
Hey, look, your computer's turning on.
Turn it on.
I feel like this is a bad credibility move for her, I think. Because you're playing Trump's game.
Yep.
You know, and
Play
you
right
don't
into
want to
his
play into that shit. She seems smarter than that.
Yep.
But then she flip-flopped on Hillary Clinton, so how smart can she be, you know?
Exactly. That's how I
She's
feel.
not a smart politician, let's put it that way. Yeah, so fuck her. And, no, I shouldn't say that. I like her. Hillary Clinton, fuck her, though, because she's...
yeah, a war criminal.
Well, and now she has this whole thing with Monica Lewinsky, you know...
Hypocrite.
And the thing she comes out, and she's like, well, she was an adult, and so, you know, blah, 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 blah. After she destroyed the lives of all these other women...
Exactly.
Back in the 90s.
What about Juanita Broderick?
What about Paula Jones?
What about Catherine? Willie?
Catherine Villeneuve, or whatever her name was.
Or is it Wiley? I don't know.
Well, and there were other, you know...
And there were other people like...
Jennifer Flowers with the G.
Before he even became...
Yeah, then there's like rumors of a secret love child, and...
He was a governor, and he was doing all kinds of
He hung out with
shit.
black people, and he hung out with poor people, you know. It's... I don't have a problem. I personally, back when that shit was happening in the 90s... I was a liberal, and I campaigned for Bill Clinton. I worked hard for him. I feel like I helped him get him elected in California. I got invited to the inauguration. You know, it was very special, and I liked him. And people were like, "Oh, Paul Jones, Jennifer Flowers, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Look, it doesn't matter what these guys do before they're president. Mm-hmm. It's what they do in office that matters to me."
Well...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not the character.
He
of the
also
man.
did some stuff with the cocaine stuff.
Yeah, but that's iffy. But the
There were Arkancides before they even got into office.
Well, and the Travelgate and the Whitewater and everything else, they were, you know, the testers.
So much stuff.
The testers for the big housing crash that they profited from.
Yep.
You know, and it wasn't until 25, 30 years down the line they look back and I'm like, well, that motherfucker was a criminal. Him and his wife. You know, and people are like, well, but Hillary... very famously, he said, when he was president, that Hillary was in on his policy making. Very famous. We're a team. Right? This is a big deal. That she had such a big hand, right? Hillary Care, right? The health care initiative back then. So she was complicit in all of that. And it doesn't exonerate. And that doesn't go into her work with the State Department and being Secretary of State and causing all these problems in Central America and over in the Middle East. So, and again, I don't have a problem with that. If they come up and they say, hey, these people in the Middle East are doing these things, people in Honduras are doing these things, this is why we need to put a stop to that, or why we need to control these things, and explain it to me as a human being, okay, maybe I'll say, okay, you know what, all right, it's dirty pool, but hey, man, the world's a dirty place. I get it. But they just lie. They just lie. And they try to put a good face on it. She's like married between a man and a woman. We're not in for gay marriage. And then suddenly here she is, she's a proponent of gay marriage. See, I think she's lesbian, personally.
There's a lot of theories about that.
Or asexual, maybe. And that she wouldn't fucking bill. And like, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not using that as a slur against her.
Yeah.
I'm saying that she should just come out and say, you know what? Bill and I have an agreement. We had one kid for the family photos, right?
Yeah.
For the politician photos. And he can go fuck whoever he wants. That's our deal, man. Like, we don't give a fuck.
She was just honest about it.
Right, and they weren't like big churchgoers, right? They weren't like in church every Sunday. I mean, you tell me what their religious affiliation is. I don't know, right? And I should know. I don't.
They probably don't believe in
anything.
anything.
Baptists, I think, but I think they identify as Baptists, but
probably Satanists.
Satanists, Mammonites.
Satanists.
That's like Mammonites, what I call them. The Mammon.
They're the Moloch
the
worshippers.
God of money, yeah. And again, I don't have a problem with like the Gulf War and Bush sending things over there after 9/11. I don't have a problem with that because I think that we needed to control the oil fields over there. I think it was a very important thing. Well, we needed to do that because if you because if you don't, because we still need oil, we still need it here. The world still runs on oil. We're not to the alternative fuel phase yet, especially back in the late 90s. So we need to control that oil. So if we don't go in there and take that oil, 5 other countries are going to rush in and try to take it. That's a real war. That's a real war. That's not tens of thousands dead. That's millions of people dead. That's nukes flying. That's a big, big fucking deal. We have the infrastructure in place, as much as I hate to say it. Halliburton was in there. They already know how to refine the oil. We have a freedom of infrastructure. But they didn't say that. They didn't tell us that as human beings, as intelligent Americans, say, look, guys, we're not off for the oil teat yet. We need it. We need to do it. And if Russia goes in there and takes it, they're gonna gouge us. If China goes in there and takes it, they're gonna gouge everybody. If Europe goes in there and takes it, they're gonna gouge everybody again. We're gonna go in there and still can do exactly what we're doing now. We're gonna make a profit and we're gonna do our thing. But we need to do this because we put fucking Saddam Hussein there.
You shouldn't put profits over people, though.
But it's not profits. It's industry. It's the actual blood of the industry.
With blood from actual people who are innocent.
Absolutely, because things that are that valuable are worth defending with people's lives. That's just how it is.
That's not.
But that's how it is.
That's a sociopathic point of view.
But it's like I said, the world's a dirty place. Like that's just the world is not.
But it's dirty because it's been made dirty.
Well, yes, but it's there now. So you got to do it, right? You got to do it. It's there now. It's happened. So we can't just pull the plug on oil and be like, well, what are we going to do for 20 years? We'll come up with alternative fuels here. We need oil to come up with those fuels. We need oil to do that stuff. We need the petroleum. We need it. And other countries hate us so much that if someone else had control of that oil, they would just lock it up from us forever and fuck us up.
That has something to do with CIA being the most disgusting and horrible.
Well, every country has its CIA. I mean, Mossad is probably a lot worse than that.
But I'm saying that's what you put out into the world. You're not going to be greeted as liberators.
But yet, look what happens when we try to pull out of the G9 or we try to pull out of the UN. Everybody fucking cries about it because they need our money. They need our resources. They need us to buy shit, right? China needs that too. My favorite recently is this NAFTA thing that just happened, right? So Trump is saying, all right, fuck NAFTA, fuck Mexico and Canada. We're done with you guys. The deal's fucked up. We're not going to do it. And they're like, oh, fuck you, America, blah, 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 blah. 11:59 to the 12 a.m. deadline. Here comes Canada on its knees being, okay, fine. What can we do? Because they need us. Mexico needs us. They need us to buy their shit.
It's not us, though. You're owning something that has nothing to do with you. That's the oligarchs.
Well, no, we have the resources and the money. Like Europe doesn't.
We don't.
No,
you and I don't.
No, we don't. But the country does. That's what
I don't know why you own what the country does in the best interests of the national corporations and multinational corporations that control everything.
Because I need to ride the bus places, and without gas, there's no bus. And it's like, and without industry, there's nothing to do.
But we can do that without killing people. This is insanity.
No, you can't. And the reason is you can't because other countries don't. It's like people say, oh, we need to get rid of guns in America. That's fine, but no other country in the world is going to get rid of guns.
No, we need to get rid of bombs.
Well, that's
Before
fine.
we get rid of guns, we should get rid of bombs.
But that doesn't mean that Russia's going to get rid of bombs or that the Middle East can get rid of bombs.
But it should be across the board.
But they're not, and we can't control what they do. And so that's what you're saying.
But the U.S. doesn't comply either. So that's the catch. They ask others to comply with something that they won't.
But that's the catch-22 is that you talk about the CIA, but the CIA maintains that shit over there because people need to follow these rules. They need to comply. But they're not going to, right? Someone like China's going to be like, oh, yeah, sure. Disarm the Americans. And then just fucking come over with their guns and take over what they want. Because they're not... The world doesn't play by those kind of rules. We can't be the paragon of virtue because there's no virtue. And there's no room for a paragon of virtue anymore.
But they never have been. The U.S. has never been a paragon of virtue.
I think we have at some point.
When it was made up of actual inhabitants who started there.
I don't know what that means, but I don't understand what that means. But I'm trying to figure it out. But
when we weren't imperialistic about this country, and when this country was unmolested for however long it was unmolested before the New World was discovered.
Yeah, but that was never not going to happen. That's never not going to happen. People are going to spread out. They're going to go. The Native Americans weren't Native Americans. They came from Asia. So everybody came from someplace, and not just that, but it was no fucking utopia when the Native Americans.
And I didn't say it was a utopia.
But that's what I'm saying. There was
but you're implying
warfare.
that that's what I'm saying, and I'm not saying.
Well, you were saying that unmolested, but
unmolested by other infiltrations.
But what infiltrations? I mean, the Vikings were coming over long before Columbus was here.
They brought more disease. Right.
The Middle East was coming over here long before the Vikings were coming here. Right. The Phoenicians, the mariners of the Middle East and of the eastern coast of Asia were coming over here long before there were even fucking Inuit Alaskans there. Like the world has always been a place where people go. People are always going to spread out. It's going to happen. Right? It's conquest, not infiltration. It's conquest. That's what happens. And we weren't even the conquest of America. That was the Spanish and the Europeans. It had nothing to do with the Americans that are here now that have been generational for 300 fucking years. Nothing to do with those guys, right? You do what you got to do. And when America's over here,
isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over again?
But they're not doing the same thing over and over because
that's what war is doing the same thing over and over again.
No, it's not. War
when it gets us more terrorists, more people.
But that's always going to happen, right? So.
Oh my gosh, it's always going to happen. So just keep doing it.
Well, but it's the only solution. Again,
there is no solution
because there are some.
Their solution is not our solution.
But it's a solution. It's one. Right?
It's a solution for them. They get all the money. We get nothing.
It's the whole saying of violence is the answer until it's the answer, right? Because there are people on this planet that I know, there are bullies that are never going to stop bullying you until you punch them in the fucking face. It's just not. It's never going to. You can sit down and talk with them all you want. And
we haven't tried to talk to anyone.
That's always the first step is to say, look, how can we work this out without fighting? Because really, no one wants to fight. No one wants to fight. Some just have to fight because these guys don't understand anything else. Like, look at the Middle East.
Neither does the U.S. people.
No, of course they do. Of course they do. And
the presidents have always been war criminals and horrible people, doing the bidding of the people behind the snes, like the Council on Foreign Relations.
I mean, it hasn't always been like that. I think it's been like maybe the past 60 years. But you have a president who was like a warrior, like Eisenhower, who was in a war. Understood the cost of it, and
he said that the military-industrial complex.
And he warned us about the profits coming from war, but it's too tantalizing. It's too tantalizing a fruit.
But absolute power corrupts absolutely, and they will have to deal with the ramifications of their actions. And we should not own those actions. That's all I'm saying.
Well, but we can't have their cake and eat it too. If we're going to own the victory, we got to own the defeats.
I don't own anything.
We got to own the bad. Of course you do. You own it because
I'm not a nationalist.
Using the technology here that we developed or that has been developed overseas that you bought and consumed here. You have an iPhone. I have a Samsung. Why do you have an iPhone? I don't know. Because you made a choice. You made a choice to buy this product over another product. I bought this phone because it's fucking free with my plan. I was like, I don't care. They could give me any phone. It doesn't matter. I'm not a brand person. I don't give a fuck.
I don't care about brands.
But
either.
You do because you have an iPhone.
That doesn't mean I care about brands.
But why do you not have a Nexus or a Samsung or a HTC? I mean, why don't you have an Android phone and not an iPhone? And here's a brand new iPhone box right here. So you could probably get another phone for about $300 cheaper. You could have got a phone equal to that one. But why'd you get an iPhone? Because you like iPhones, and because Apple's easy to use, and because they're here and they're prevalent, and it's the brand that's the one that you trust. But they're all the same shit.
I don't trust any of these people.
But you make the choice. Because if it didn't matter, you get a fucking AT&T burner phone.
I understand. And I wish that I actually wish that I had my charger for my flip phone that I could use. That would make it so much easier for me.
But you're missing all this stuff. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now, right? So there's a thing. That's what people are like, oh...
But I have a video. I have a recorder. I could have...
But it has batteries in it.
I have a recording device in my camera that I could have used.
You could have. There's a lot of things you could do. Look,
I'm just saying, like, it's whatever.
Right, but that's.
Do we want to check and see if it's working?
Go ahead. We can turn it on. Just turn it on while you're doing this. You don't have to turn it off.
Or
do you? No,
I don't know.
But that's the thing. That's the conundrum, right? And that's where at some point, like watching the show Adam Ruins Everything, right?
I can't hear it. Hold on. No. It won't work.
Maybe you got to update Oddity.
I don't know. It's saying I had a plug-in or something. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, so, I'm watching the show Adam Ruins Everything, which we were talking about earlier. And a lot of these things end with him saying, look, but this is how things are, right? All these horrible things are going on, but there's always a solution. But you either have to accept and live in that world or not. And this is how your frame of mind, this is how your comfort comes to be. Because you can either make a choice to live in the world or not live in the world. And if you make a choice to not live in the world and to live in your own world, you're going to keep fighting against what's happening to you. Constantly. It's always going to be happening to you as opposed to what you're doing. Right? You could live a better life for yourself if there's certain things you need to accept and then move on from those things.
I, as a human being who actually cares about human beings more than the human beings who...
So when's the last time you went down to Skid Row and volunteered in the mission and served food on Thanksgiving? Have you done that?
I don't believe in Thanksgiving.
Well,
That's bullshit.
But there are still hungry people out there. You don't have to go on Thanksgiving and do
Actually,
that.
I had a very intense conversation with a gentleman at the bus stop the other day.
Okay, but did you give him food? Did you offer
I
him
didn't have any food.
Right,
I can't give them what they don't have.
You could take the bus down to Fifth San Pedro.
And I didn't have any money either, so
and
don't
go to the mission
don't
and say,
try
okay,
and
I'm
guilt-trip
going to take 20 hours a week out of my week. Like,
why is it on me when I didn't put them in that place? That's
because
right.
Because you love humanity, you want to spread humanity, you want to.
But the people in charge are the ones who are supposed to be doing that, and I'm
but they're
trying to get them to see.
Right, but they're not. They have other things to worry about, right? They can't worry about the 500 homeless.
No, if everyone
here.
has other things to worry about, then nobody's going to get anything done.
Right, exactly, right? So you have to make the balance between.
But I'm not in power. People in power should be responsible for other people.
You can be in power of your own sphere of influence. You can be the power.
And I don't have enough money to be spreading it out to other people. All right, so
you find other ways to do it then.
I have an open dialogue with human beings and try to understand them and educate them and have them educate me.
Well, okay, that's fine that you do that, but...
I always thank the bus driver.
Well, I always thank my bus drivers too, unless they're assholes and I call them fucking dick, but whatever.
Or, like if they are like 10 minutes late or something, I don't thank them. I just get on and sit down.
But see, that's like me. I spent a lot of my younger years working toward public service. Like that was my goal, was to be in politics, public service, not necessarily politics, but to do something for people, to actually do something, because I saw the benefit of somebody who actually was an actual activist, who went out there and did the work and changed people's lives. And I thought, I can do that, and I want to do that, until that just sort of went away. and it wasn't about public service anymore. It became about profit, like you were saying, and it became about money and kickbacks and this little tiny microcosm of life that was just about this random circular generation of money and power that did nothing for anybody. It just for the people that were involved, and that drove me away from politics. I was in public service.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of that in me, but I feel the same way you do. Actually, I feel like, why should the burden be on me? But then the old me looks at it and says, well, because the burden is on me, because that's what America used to be. America used to be that if your brother's down, you put your hand out until he can grab it and you pull him up, because that's what America is. America is socialist in that way, because we should be supporting each other. That's
there's a plane. Sorry, guys.
Plane. That's because that's what the American government was meant to be. It was meant to be ruled by the people who are in charge of our government, and our government does what we need them to do.
But it quickly became something completely different.
Well, because we allowed that. Advertising and social media give us
Yes.
the illusion of power. They give us the illusion that we're the center of everything.
Yes.
They give us the illusion that things happen overnight. The problem is that we have this illusion of speed, right? Like Roseanne Barr gets fired from her show 24 hours if she says something stupid.
Yeah.
And that woman does look like a fucking weirdo animal, whatever the fuck she is. But she did look like that. She had something to say, right? But the kick Roseanne out the air, boom. People think, oh my God, this happened in 12 hours. Everything, but no, that's not how it works. Social justice doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
Accepting transgender people, accepting gay marriage is going to take 50 years. It's not going to take 10 minutes. It's not going to happen in 2 years. You're going to put a referendum.
Yeah, they're really trying to do that now. They're like trying to force feed all of this information about different communities of people that they wanted to categorize.
Let's call them what they are. Factions.
Factions.
Right? They're not communities, they're factions.
And they've been factioned by
somebody
else.
They're factioned by themselves. Right? You have a whole chart now.
Well, some of them, yeah. But some of them are just like, why are you putting me in a category?
Well, and those are the people that,
And they're the ones who get ostracized.
And have been living their lives,
yeah.
right? The creator of Sirius Satellite Radio. The creator of Satellite Radio is a transgendered woman. Mm-hmm. Named Martin, now Martine. Right, has a daughter, had a full sort of heterosexual life before becoming a woman. Martine. It created this wonderful satellite radio technology that's been used all over the world and used for a lot of things. People don't know that she's been living as a woman since the 70s. Mm-hmm. Right, there's lots of people who have been living as another person for a long time because they don't advertise that shit.
Right,
and they see themselves as people. Right,
mm-hmm.
I saw a picture the other day about here's the umbrella of queer or something, right? And then it had transgender and all these other things. And I said, well, what about just people?
Yeah.
What about just people? Gay, straight, queer,
when are we
going
to treat each other like people?
We can't, because people are constantly looking for identity, which comes back to...
And victimization.
Well, and that's the result of it, is that victimization is another...
Now it's kind of become a commodity to like be victimized. You have to be somebody who's gone through some shit. That's why freaking Warren did all that, because she wanted to be
that's the point.
Part of a community.
Gone through some shit, right? Gone through it, not living in it.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I don't have a problem with someone who's gone through shit.
Yeah.
Telling me about the shit they've gone through, because it means that they've worked through it and they've confronted their triggers and they've eliminated that trouble that causes that feeling within them, and they become better people.
Right.
But so what social media has done is it's allowed people to create these bubbles for themselves, mm-hmm. where they can just find the people that share these fears and just pat each other on the back, circle jerk themselves over and over and over, and say, oh yeah, oh poor baby, because victims get treated better than victors. True. And that's the thing. When you're losing, people want to help you. When you're winning, people don't give a fuck.
Yes.
They want to topple you, as a matter of fact. Jay-Z and all this Beyonce, and then Kanye's associated, they always associate Kanye with fucking Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like Kanye West, he's a product of this. I feel like he's just playing a massive game. He always seems like a prankster to me. He seems like a low-key type. Like he's just a trickster.
He made some cool memes.
And he's a talented producer, and he's
I really like that album, Kids See Ghosts. I don't care. I'm sorry. It was really good.
And I love the fact that okay, so I'm a big Howard Stern fan, right? And when you listen to the Howard Stern show, either the guests get it or they don't. And when they get it, like you have David Arquette who comes on, he gets the show. He comes on and starts talking about all this shit. He makes all this shit up. He talks all this about Courtney Cox, how they're in trouble, how he's getting in trouble talking on the show. It's all a big fucking lie. But it's the show. It's the theater of the mind that Howard creates, that if you get it, you get it. Right? Trump has created the same thing. He's created this media persona for himself, of this buffoon, of this fucking idiot. And Kanye gets it. Like, he's like, I'm gonna play this game too. Because people think I'm an idiot. Well, let's go fucking do this shit. Let's just tear this shit down, right? But again, in the background, you have these natural things, right? That's the example I'm using is Canada and Mexico crawling back to the U.S. saying, okay, we need you. We need you guys to help us. We're done. And Trump just pushed him to the edge, in China too, in Korea. Like, pushed him to the edge where they were like, no president ever walked away from them before. But the first rule of negotiation is be ready to walk away. Be ready to turn your back on the table and be like, we're done. We don't need this. We're fucking done. And that's what he did. Everybody broke. Everybody's breaking around him because he's just that kind of guy. Like, that's what he does. He's a bully, right? And we haven't had a bully as a president in a really long time.
So it's really surprising to a lot of people who haven't been around for very long.
Right, and because we're trained to hate bullies, and I don't like bullies either. But again, when it comes to the rest of the world, they're bullying everybody else, right? Russia gets bullied by Western Europe constantly. By everybody, they get bullied. They've been the shithole of the fucking world since World War II. So we fucked them out of all their shit of World War II. The U.S. fucked them over, started the arms race. Western Europe is constantly taking shit away from them. They're the shithole of the world. They're the I don't know. They're the ass that gets kicked constantly.
Yeah.
And Trump sees it as like, okay, this country's failing. Russia's failing. And if it collapses, it's a disaster for everybody. We can't have that happen. The Soviet Union collapsed. We barely made it out of that because they were still a vibrant, vital economy that we needed in the world to be there. And when Reagan helped to sort of destroy them.
You just brought up Reagan.
Well, I know, because you wanted to bring up Iron Contra, and I know that from my circular logic. But we saw the collapse of the Soviet Union, and that almost toppled everybody. That was a huge, huge blow to the world economy. Now, Putin is a desperate man, and he's got a country, and he wants to keep what he's got. So, but when you have no incentive to keep people in your country, you resort to fear. You resort to cruelty. And that's what I'm saying. I look at his human rights violations, and they're terrible. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do to keep people there? You have to keep them behind a wall, right? You got to keep them there with machine guns like they did in the USSR. You got to keep them there because it sucks to be there, but we need you here, right? But Trump sees this and says, well, here's an economy that's on the brink of disaster. If we can make friends with these guys and figure out a way to like be in on the recovery of that, then the U.S. can profit from it. We can all profit. Everybody can profit from the regeneration of Russia as long as they don't keep treating like shit, right? And Putin gets it. He gets it too. He understands the world needs villains right now. The world needs fucking villains because that's just how it is, right? Trump continuing the work that Obama was doing immigration-wise, separating these kids from their families, putting them in camps. That would have been the next step. Hillary,
he's expanded a lot.
Well, but he's expanded along the rules that Obama set.
Exactly.
Right? And Clinton's done too. Bill Clinton.
So he's kind of doing like what...
He's doing what people expect him to do.
No, he's doing what Obama did with the expansion of the 2 wars to 7, and all of the ICE stuff that he really put into practice. Right. And now this is and this drones and everything. Now he's doing the drone thing. He's doing all of it.
Look, but how many
to the nth degree? Just like
how many military incidents have we had under Trump? Like as opposed to how many incidents we've had under Clinton and Obama.
Well, he committed a war crime in the Yemen raid. I know that.
Well, but that wasn't his. That was already in motion before when he became president. It's almost like the TARP thing, right? People blame Obama for TARP.
And also Syria was illegal.
And that was already in motion when Trump...
That wasn't in motion.
Well, it was. It was in motion from Hillary Clinton was already over there.
They had the fake chemical attack in Syria.
And that was way before Trump, though. That was still when
That wasn't... No, the video was from... what was it, 2016 or something?
Right, so before Trump got elected at the end of 2016.
No, I think it was...
It's all Obama, dude. It's all Obama and Clinton and
But he didn't have to do that. And he said he wouldn't do that, and he did it.
But again...
He's a liar.
Well, but he also wasn't...
doing the deep state's
He also wasn't
work.
President when he said those things. He didn't understand the perspective of it, right?
But it's never okay to kill or put... strikes out there based on no information that was actually verified.
But he also said we're going to put Russia in the seat of that and make them do it, and that's exactly what happened. He's like, why are we fighting? In the primaries, he was saying, why are we fighting this war for Russia? This is really Russia's war. It's not ours. Why are we fighting for them?
I don't know what that means because they were backing the rebels.
They were backing the rebels but we were
And
fighting.
Russia had nothing to do with the rebels.
But our involvement in Syria
and Russia was invited.
our involvement in Syria was an Obama construct. That's why we were there, because of Obama and Clinton's policies.
And John Kerry.
So we were over there because of these guys. But once you're entrenched in that, you can't just pull out, because that causes a problem. You have to gradually work out.
But if you keep doing that, it's just a cycle that goes on forever.
That's what's happening. But that's why it stopped. Because the Yemen thing with the Saudis...
Nothing has stopped. There's still so much going on.
But it's slowing down. And it's slowing down for us. And Russia's taking up their things that, well, you guys want Assad out of there? Fucking go get him. We're not going to spend our American lives anymore. We're not going to do that anymore.
Assad has nothing to do with us. We need to just leave.
Exactly. But we can't just pull out, because there's a lot of people that rely on...
That's what a lot of people said about Iraq, and they were wrong.
Well, we're still there. Right, we're still
exactly, and it's still a shithole, and it's still not getting.
It is still a shithole.
Any kind of government,
but it is getting better for us. Again,
yeah, for the people who aren't being killed. I guess.
But that's their problem. And
that's their problem.
They shelter the Taliban.
Right.
They shelter Osama bin Laden.
They created.
The
CIA
created Osama.
Osama bin Laden. Oh my
we
God.
did all that stuff, but
and Al Qaeda.
Right, and
ISIS.
Saudi Arabia has.
This is insane.
Saudi Arabia, right, but that's how entangled it all is.
But it shouldn't be.
Well, but it is.
But I'm saying it doesn't need to be.
But it is. If that's what I'm saying, it is. It doesn't.
So then we have perpetual war. That's where we're at.
But we can move away. That's what they always kind of.
No, they don't need the U.S. to do shit. The U.S. needs to deal with their own shit.
Well, and I agree with that. But
America first.
Well, no, I agree with that to some extent as well. But I also I'm not.
How about
naive.
Flint first?
But I'm not naive enough to think that our involvement is necessary, because I'm happy when people are like, oh, we're no longer a world leader. I'm happy about that. I think it's not our time to lead anymore. The problem is
the empire must fall. That's what a lot of people.
I don't know about that, because look at Puerto Rico, right? Puerto Rico is a territory. But it was a primitive nation before the hurricane even fucking destroyed that shit and just leveled it to nothing, right? By all rights, they should just scrap that place, raise everything to the ground.
How are we going to get back to Iran-Contra now?
Well, because it comes down to that, right? Because we're looking at involvement overseas right now. We're talking about involvement overseas. Our involvement in the Contra situation down in South America at the time was necessary, not necessary. We needed to have an interest there, and I think that's the thing. Is like, we have Israel, which is its own problem, but which
owns the U.S.
But and
their foreign policy
less and less and less every time, every second, right? Every less and less we rely less and less on them. What we need them to do is maintain a democratic presence in the Middle East. That's what they're there.
There's no such thing as a democratic presence anywhere.
Well, let's just say use it as a broad term as opposed to a theocracy.
Let's live in a lie. Okay.
Right. Well, it's just an easier term to use.
Because Netanyahu is like the worst,
is.
And he's a fucking dictator.
Yahoo? Oh, Netanyahu. Well, no, he is. Well, he is.
It's been around forever.
And Israel does their stupid shit, but at the same time, they support us there. And we need that there. We need that little strategic thing. It's the same reason we need Okinawa in World War II.
And why do you think they're going after the Middle East so hard? Because Israel hates Arabs.
Israel hates Arabs, and the Arabs have the oil, and and right now.
Not Israel as a whole. Obviously, Netanyahu hates Arabs.
The government hates the.
He really fucking hates.
The people
Arabs.
that I know, they're Israeli Jews. They're fine people, but
yeah, I know an Israeli person too.
Many, but it's what they've become there to toughen up against these Arab nations, which is surrounded by. They have a precarious situation there. Israel, without their nukes, they would probably not exist. So they're there. But as you see, Saudi Arabia is in trouble again, right?
We're getting back to Khashoggi, the big thing.
Right. They're being called to task. They should, obviously, the horrible thing that happened to the poor guy. But it's something.
He's not innocent, by the way.
No,
None of these people are innocent, guys.
Well, there's no innocence.
There's no such thing.
We can start at a base level of guilt and call that innocent if we want to. Be like original sin, basically. So you have, everybody's sort of.
Everybody's complicated.
Right. Everybody's complicated because they're people.
We're all humans.
We look at these people now. So that's why I think Donald Trump is another benefit of him is that he's opened our eyes to the fact that no one's perfect. That we can accept a certain level of bullshit. That we've always had to accept a certain level of bullshit. That we've been lied to this whole time about the bullshit level.
He's a parody of a president.
He's a prototype for a new type of politician.
No, I think he's just what we deserve at this moment.
Well, but I don't. Again,
to show how full of shit everything is.
Yes and no, because I do think there's a benefit to what he's doing. I think there's benefit to what's happening.
To him, yeah.
Well, no, to everything.
To his people.
To everybody. Because because if you take the bare bones of what he's doing and take away the politics of it, the bare bones of what he's doing is he's communicating openly with the American people through social media, which has never happened before. And even Obama didn't even do that. Right?
He had people probably writing his tweets.
Right, but there's sort of like, you know, there were no teeth in these tweets. There was nothing about him. Trump is actually enacting policy this way, right? He's going to the American people saying, this is what I'm going to do. What are you going to say about it? Right? Almost to the point where it's almost kind of democratic in that way, where it's like people have their voice and opinion on what the president is actually doing as he's doing it, which has never happened before. The next president's going to step up and do that. Hopefully, be something people like. Right. Also, what he's doing is he's exposing these cabals around the world, the Europeans, for example, the Paris Summit, and the EU, for the fucking assholes that they are. Right? They hate him because he's not part of their club. He hates it. He's exposing them as elitists. Like, look what they did to
But he's an elitist too.
But he's not.
He really is.
He wants to be an elitist, but he has to buy his way into those things. He wasn't born into it.
That reminds me. What? Khashoggi. So. This is a weird segue.
It is weird.
Iran-Contra. So I was doing some research on this Jamal Khashoggi situation, and I found...
It's by the reporter that was killed by the...
Oh, yeah, because Jamal Khashoggi walked in the consulate in Turkey, right? And he never walked out, and everybody assumed that he was tortured and killed, and maybe dismembered. And now there's a audio... allegedly from New York Times.
Yeah, I heard about that today.
But I didn't see anything concrete about that.
Well, let's just say you don't go into a country called Turkey so close to Thanksgiving and expect to be carved up.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Anyway.
It's a terrible thing for that.
Anyway,
I couldn't resist that.
I looked into him, and he was embedded with Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden back in the day.
Which day was that? The 80s or...
I believe the 80s and into the 90s.
The Mujahideen days, the Afghanistan days. Okay.
And...
yeah, to be honest, I haven't really looked at those.
Right, yeah. No. And then, I came upon his uncle. He has an uncle who is very well known to a lot of people in Washington, I'm sure, and elsewhere. And his name was Adnan Khashoggi, and he was a billionaire arms dealer and helped with the Iran-Contra affair. And was put in prison after some time. So around that time, I guess a little bit before that time, at some point in the 80s, Donald Trump bought his yacht for, I think it was $30 million, that was the same, $30 million. It was a good bargain because... He bought
Adnan Khashoggi's yacht.
Yes.
Okay.
They took $1 million off because it was named Nabila after his daughter, and then Trump was supposed to change it to something else, and he changed it to Trump Princess. And he used the yacht for charity stuff, for like real estate shit, work shit, and then eventually. And there's actually a clip, and I guess I could leave that here in the description, from David Letterman, where he discussed this situation, and he seemed very cagey about it. Not cagey, but like he didn't want to discuss this, but he had to get it off his chest. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna make me feel guilty about this, David." And David's like, "No, you earned it," and blah blah blah. But, you can see there's something behind it.
Publicity about your acquisition of the boat this summer. The Princess, is that what we call it?
I bought a boat from Adnan Khashoggi, which was formerly called the Nabila.
Nabila.
It's a yacht. And
Adnan Khashoggi, excuse me for a second, is the world's largest arms trader?
I hate to admit it. Actually, it was from the Sultan of Brunei because he was security for a loan and a whole complicated thing. But
now, what are those guys like?
Oh, they're real sweethearts, I have to think. They're real sweethearts.
Are they mean, tough, foreboding guys?
Well, I'd say by nature they're not the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah.
He spent probably $200 million on building this yacht, which was called the Nabila, as I said, and probably the greatest yacht ever built, and I purchased it for a business. I have a real problem using it personally, because a mental problem using it personally. I feel guilty about it, if you want to know the truth. But I purchased it, and I use it for my hotels and for condo people that want to use it and this and that. And it's really been a great kind of an investment. It's been fun. I use it for charities. I use it for a lot of different charities.
And you got a discount on it because of the name of the boat? Was that the deal?
Well, as his daughter's name was Nabila, and he signed a contract, they signed a contract, and essentially what happened was they gave me $1 million off if I didn't call it the Nabila, and somebody asked me, would I have called it the Nabila if I didn't have to call it the Nabila, and the answer was probably not.
Yeah.
Now it's the Trump principle. But they didn't want it called Nabila when somebody else owned it, which is proper, I guess.
If you have a daughter, would you ever consider naming her Nabila?
It's probably not a bad idea. It's cheaper than changing all the lettering on the boat.
And this is, give me the dimensions on it's a yacht, a motor yacht?
It's a motor yacht. It's a 300-foot yacht.
And how much fuel does it burn per mile? Is that how they figure it?
I don't even know, but I really don't like them. Somebody was saying, with Khashoggi, they just turned on the engines and did whatever they wanted to do. With me, they were going to turn on the engines to show somebody how it worked, and I said, do not do it, because I keep the engines off as much as possible, but it's a substantial...
Has a swimming pool on it?
It's got a swimming pool.
And a pizza oven?
It's got just about everything, including pizza.
Could you...
He makes me feel very guilty about this, folks. And I like to do other good things. I have to end up...
No, you shouldn't feel guilty about this, because, I mean, you've worked hard for this money, or reasonably hard.
Yeah.
I mean... I don't see you doing a lot of heavy lifting, but,
I do this show because everybody tells me it's the only time during interviews that they see me smile. Now, it's very tough not smiling at this.
We appreciate it. Now, what else would you like to talk about?
And then I looked further into things, and this is a Vanity Fair article that I'm also going to link to in the description that details a lot of the inner circle of Khashoggi. It has Donald Trump, it has all kinds of escorts and stuff, and Lockheed Martin partnership with Raytheon, all kinds of Northrop Grumman. He was partnered with all these people, all these defense contractors and everything, making a lot of money. So there's all of that, and then I looked further into it, and I found a tweet just by looking Adnan Khashoggi up, because nobody's talking about him. And I looked him up on Twitter, and I found a tweet with a newspaper article from the Daily Pennsylvanian about a Wharton scandal, the Wharton Executive Education Center scandal, which was, the funds were diverted, $10 million was diverted from, I don't know if it's $10 million, it was probably less than that, like $8 million or something, but a significant amount of money was diverted from the funds for the Wharton Executive Education Center to the Contras in Nicaragua. And this was through Khashoggi, who was dealing with Trump at the time, and Trump was dealing with this guy Reagan, who was the chief of staff of at the White House at the time with Reagan, and then this other guy Palmer, who was the dean of the Wharton School. It was a whole scam. People were talking about it locally, and I could only find this source, and I'll link to that as well. But Trump unwittingly donated millions of dollars $10 million to help with the Wharton School or whatever, and they diverted the funds to the Contras. So technically, Trump funded the Contras, helped fund the Contras during the Iran-Contra affair, and it's blowing my mind. It was 1987 that was revealed, and it was from 1883.
But he went to Wharton School.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
also interesting in that article is that Oliver North, his son, went to Wharton after this whole ordeal happened. And you wonder, how that... And it was to fund uniforms for the soldiers or whatever. I don't know. And to make them look their best, their American best. It was so stupid. I couldn't even believe how.
But it doesn't surprise me the rich people were involved. It's when you get to a certain level of money.
Urban Outfitters. Shout out to Urban Outfitters. That's who got the money.
American. What was the one? American Apparel.
Oh my gosh, that's a shame that wasn't around then. They could have gotten American Apparel in there.
Maybe it was just Contra Apparel.
Contra-apparel,
but it doesn't, but you look at those coincidences. I mean, because the coincidences, and
I think everything's connected. Because
when you
Oliver North is now the head of the NRA. What the hell?
Well, look what happened.
What the hell is happening? Everybody, the same players.
He was an American hero,
through.
right? I mean, whatever. I mean, he was on TV.
And also, Trump was there on 9/11. It's insane how much.
Well, he lives in New York. But
New York is crazy.
But
also, Brooke Shields is involved somehow. I don't know how that happened.
That's interesting.
That's insane. She used to date Khashoggi allegedly.
But when you get to a certain level of money.
Yeah.
Then it's just you.
And he said she was a good lay, and then her mother said, "Oh, if he says she's a good lay, that's okay. Whatever she wants to do." She's the worst mother.
Well, yeah, she was a world class model, and she was 15 years old.
Famous. Pimped out by her mother.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, she seems to be okay over it.
I can't believe how unscathed Brooke Shields has been from all of her craziness that she's had to deal with.
Well, but I think of all the guys she fucked.
She fucked so many guys.
So many powerful men. She's dealing with these Arab arms dealers. I mean, that's a lot of protection. We were just talking about this yesterday.
This is like a movie. It's like a movie, but it's real life.
But it's not.
Movies are real life, and real life's a movie.
It is, and it's not. I had a friend who was an actor, a child actor, and a pretty successful one, and you could connect him to all these people in the 80s just because he was in the movies. And there's always a group of actors and producers and directors that are just there, in this little bubble. And you can connect all these people together because they're all just happen to be working at the same time. And because they're at the level they were at, it's actually pretty small. So everybody gets connected. So billionaires like Trump and Khashoggi and these other guys, they're all going to be connected because they're all in the same money sphere.
I know, but what I do understand it because I know they're on the same side actually, but they're acting like they're not.
Oh, they're on the side of money.
No, I'm talking about the media. So the media is not mentioning anything about Adnan at all. I think that's interesting.
I would be. I have to.
They haven't asked him a thing about his connection with Khashoggi.
They just may not care what his opinion is either. They just may not care about that.
But wouldn't they want the public to know? And they don't have any articles saying anything about Adnan. I mean, it's just
I think they have to figure out what's happened first.
Other people.
Right, you don't...
But it's been a minute since it happened.
It's been a couple of weeks since the story was broken.
Yeah, and it should have been the first thing that...
Yes and no, because then people start jumping to conclusions and there's no...
I just want to say, for the record, I'm not going to jump to conclusions on this whole thing. I just think it's interesting how
it is very interesting, and I think that
connected, and we should look more into it.
You have the workings of journalism in that getting that story put together, because it's not a story you want to just jump out and say. You want to make sure you have the whole expose of it, right?
Exactly.
Because it is interesting when you actually read real journalism.
It is interesting what you can find when you're actually looking for something and you know that you won't find it elsewhere, you can find it locally. So it's very important for you people who want to be journalists or anything, if you want to look up something that happened in a town, and the town that it happened in, maybe look locally at the newspapers, because it's not going to be a national story if it's a big thing. And this was such a big thing, the Trump thing, not the Trump thing, but the Reagan and Palmer and Trump just happened to be there, with the money thing with the Wharton scam. It happened to go all the way to the top. Literally the next article down, it was Reagan denies any knowledge of Wharton scam.
Well, but let me put this out there. The internet is controlled, right? The information is controlled there.
And these are in newspapers, I should say.
Well, but it's still on the internet. Mm-hmm. And nothing is on the internet that doesn't need to be there. Because you can take things off, you can put things on. So
archives, guys.
Well, but the archives, again, are controlled. The newspaper has no control of the archive.
But what I'm saying is this isn't like Washington Post.
Now, if you went down...
Like New York Times.
If you went down to this Pennsylvania town yourself, went into the library, into the musty old fucking newspaper archives, and went through the paper and saw that there, that's a different thing than looking on the internet. Because if you want to go to where you're talking about, then somebody's involved in putting the information on the internet. And somebody's allowing it to be there. It doesn't have to be there. It can be taken out.
But it's still hidden away.
But it's not. You found it.
I had to search for it.
Yeah, but you're
with Trump
Latham.
contrast.
You have no You don't have the resources at your fingertips that the NSA does, or that these information, or even a journalists themselves have. You don't have that information. You don't have that. You're just as a private citizen looking for these things. So imagine all the resources that are into. The minute this Khashoggi story broke, boom! I'm sure 1,000 people found that. It's not just you. Everybody starts finding. Or maybe
that's how I found it. It was from other people.
Maybe if you had been looking
yes.
for it before that, maybe it wouldn't have been there. Right? That's what I'm saying. So there are factions out there that are guiding people's information to where.
And that's why I made sure to look for the entire article after I saw an image, and I didn't want to take an image and just go crazy with it and spread. But
have you gone down? Could you go down to the newspaper office itself? Go in to find those hard archives.
I hope I could, but I can't.
And compare
physically.
And compare those articles, because could it be that these articles are not real? That's where this line of thinking goes, is that none of this is real. It's
nothing's
all just put
real.
out there, right? Right, nothing is real. That's what I'm saying. Like, the information is there because people want it to be there. They want you to find it. They want to tie Trump into anything they can fucking tie him into.
No, because it's not being released by this specific newspaper.
Because it has more credibility. If you go digging around for it and find treasure, it's better than someone just hands you money, right? Finding something is more important. Finding something gives it value. Digging it up is like a fossil in the desert, right? It has an intrinsic value of being hidden away. But it's not really hidden away. It's on the internet. It's right
but you do know that, like, Bill Clinton was involved in the Iran-Contra as well.
Everybody's involved.
That's why I'm saying it's like all these different people.
Well, because it's politicians. Anybody who was in politics at the time was involved in that, because the president was involved.
Yes, but
there was worldwide policy involved.
But I'm saying, like, then it's not like a whole big, like, oh, we got to get Trump, because it's all these different people all together.
Right, but then there's another faction that needs to throw the Clinton name under the bus, right? So everybody's going to be involved in all of this stuff. You're going to have one.
That's why it's important to look at things with critical thinking.
Right, I agree. I agree with that, because you're going to have one position that comes in and says, let me turn it this way, right? The day that Kanye was in the White House for Donald Trump also signed into law a new royalty act for musicians and the digital streaming platforms that gives them more money from things like Spotify and Pandora. Buried. That's why Kanye was there. That's the reason he was there. He was there because it was Musicians' Day in the White House for these things, and he was there as a musician talking to the president because he's a
thought he was there for prison reform.
No, that's what his wife was doing, right? So his wife is there for prison reform because he has a relative who's in prison and
right.
Thing. But Kanye was there because it was the theme. The theme of the day was musicians. Kid Rock was there. There was a bunch of other musicians.
I know nobody talked about that because they wanted to focus
because
on
it's something good. It's something for artists that works. They don't
focus on good stories.
It's a counter Trump thing where it's like you don't expect him to do something good, right? We used to talk about. We were just talking about the other day about Trump.
That was going to go through anyway, though.
Well, maybe. I mean, he could not signed it. He could have said, what do I
could do that for a lot of things.
Right, but it doesn't. But
he's done a lot of good things.
But it costs him nothing.
Happens to be that way.
It costs him nothing. Spotify and things like that are actually run by international concerns.
Like the TPP.
So, right. But that's his next target, right? And NAFTA is hopefully going to get some sort of paced over now that we've had Canada and Mexico broken down and said, okay, fine, what do you want? We'll figure it out. And the next thing is the Pacific trade, right?
Fair trade. We need fair trade.
And we'll move towards that. I mean, it can't happen all at once. It's going to take 15, 20 years for that to happen.
It's helpful for the corporations. So as soon as the corporations see that it doesn't help their profits, then they
they have their salad days right now.
Nowadays, like cosmetic companies or whatever, they are being more knowledgeable and better about transparency on the animal cruelty stuff and the testing on animals.
Yeah, because it helps their profits.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't necessarily,
that's the market, really.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're not testing animals outside of the U.S. But
exactly, they have their loopholes.
Right,
they
do their things.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the corporation, I was talking to my friend yesterday. Talking about the corporation and the tax breaks that Trump gave them, and that's a tester. Like the tester is okay. You give these guys the breaks, and you kind of see what they're going to do with it. Like, what are they going to do with this money?
Some of them aren't even paying a tax. So.
Well, some of them don't pay taxes. Some of them put the money back into their companies, which is what it's supposed to do with that money. Some of them, like Domino's, for example, started paving the roads they use to deliver these pizzas, right? They're doing good in the towns they work in with the money, the tax rate they got from Trump. They raised the wages. They did exactly what they were supposed to do with that money. and put it back into their company, put it back into their employees.
Amazon won't do
and
that.
Innovate, right? Amazon's not doing that.
And Apple won't do that.
Ford isn't doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because Ford's Trump's tariffs, Ford's $1 billion in debt. You know what? Cut the CEO's salaries, right?
Exactly.
Cut their salaries. Increase
They
the
would
worker
never.
wage. Increase the productivity of the worker wage. Move, why? Oh, well, because the Chinese steel is so expensive. Well, there's fucking American steel here too, right? You could invest in America and invest this
America
tax
first.
Right. No, it should. Well, American people first, right? So you should take the money the tax breaks you're getting. That you're getting should be going back, and you could finance a steel mill with the GM as a group of automakers could finance new steel mills here that we sold to the Chinese under Clinton and Bush. We could finance new steel mills here and build American steel here and they would just have to take a lump. They have to take some bumps in their profit to be able to do that, but the result would be an increased American market. But they don't do that, and they're blaming Trump for it. But I'm like, no, it's not them. You open the door for them. Either they can walk in or walk out, and these guys decide to walk out with the money. They decide to do that. They've decided to keep exercising their international tax loops. Their international bullshit, right? They're not investing the money back in. So what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next is flat tax. That's what's going to happen, and none of them want that because there's no deductions for flat tax. You just pay the money. There's nothing you can do to get out of it. You've got to pay the money, right? One of Trump's promises in the primaries was a tax form on a postcard. That was some of his promises. This is how we want to do it. We want a flat tax. We're not interested in this bullshit. But he tried the corporate tax. He tried this corporate cut first to see how it works out. And these corporations are completely irresponsible with it, right? They don't have to be assholes. They're choosing to be dicks, right? So the next thing is, fine, flat tax. You're just going to pay 35% of your profits no matter what, and you get no deductions. This is what's going to happen to you because that's what's going to happen. And you won't be able to get out of it now. Because you had the opportunity to be part of this country. You had the opportunity to put the money back in your infrastructure. You had that opportunity and you blew it. Right?
Speaking of blowing, what is with this Stormy Daniels worship that these liberals have?
I don't know.
It makes no sense to me.
I think again
it's specifically her lawyer. He gets a lot of attention. And
it's a distraction, right?
It is, it's theater.
Because people love to talk about sex, right?
Exactly.
The Brett Kavanaugh thing, because people say Brett
Kavanaugh.
That was
sex.
Brett Kavanaugh
sex
versus
sells.
Merrick Garland, right? And they're like, oh, they should have raised this huge stink about Merrick Garland and all this bullshit, and there should have been a whole investigation, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Merrick Garland didn't fuck anybody, right? He didn't try to fuck somebody against their will. He didn't try to rape anybody. There was no sexiness to Merrick Garland. He was just a solid human, right? He was a very legitimate candidate for the Supreme Court, and he got shut down because there's nothing sexy about him.
Well, he has some stuff in the past.
Well,
Not that, but some other stuff. And Kavanaugh had actual reasons, being a Bush crony, that you would be uncomfortable with him being on the Supreme Court.
Well, I don't have.
There were actual things
that
that
focused on
that they could have focused on.
Right, and they focused on the sex part, which is completely irrelevant to everything. It's irrelevant, and people are like, "Well, he's a sexual predator." I'm like, he was
30-something
he
years.
He was a privileged white brat, 17-year-old fucking kid who thought this is where the world works. He did something stupid. I said, but the problem is, he did none of these things while he was a judge. None of these things.
Also, sorry, but attempted rape is not the same as rape.
No, because now they use the broad term sexual assault, which people automatically assume means rape.
Exactly.
And they just do
It's a trigger word.
Right. And plus I felt bad for that poor woman because that poor woman was victimized. Yeah. And they weaponized...
By many people.
And they weaponized her victimization for political gain. And again, it's not that I don't believe her. It's that I don't care about what happened.
No.
It's that what makes me sad is the Democrats are just using this, drooling. They're fucking drooling.
And then at the same time, they're saying, oh, well, we're not going to impeach him. We're fine. And they're trying to talk out of both sides of their mouth.
And they're screwing her over.
Yes.
And they're victimizing her all over again for political gain, just to get votes. And that's what makes me sad about that whole thing, was that this guy may be a jerk, but he
clearly is a jerk.
Well, but
I mean, just the way he talks.
He's a white fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
I know the Supreme Court's made up of mostly assholes.
Exactly.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg maybe not so much of an asshole. I'm sure she had to do some asshole-ish things to get where she is. But she's probably the least asshole-ish among them.
Probably.
And I like her. She's a firecracker. I like her a lot. But everybody, and like I said, I tell people that my new thing now is if you're on TV as a politician, you've done some shit. Period. Like this Beto O'Rourke thing. The
Yes.
stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, he goes to Whataburger and listens to The Who in his car. I'm going to vote for him. I'm like, no.
It's more personality bullshit.
What the fuck has he done? Okay, well, he went to the camps. Everyone went to the fucking camps, right? What has he done? He's done nothing except look handsome. There's a picture of him now standing in the rain in a microphone. All everybody's in umbrellas. He's in the rain talking to the microphone. Like, that's a live mic he's holding in his hand in the fucking rain. It's somebody's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Who would fucking hold a live mic in the rain like that? I hope it's not plugged in because he's going to fucking kill himself. And that's going to be sad.
Or he's skateboarding. I can't.
It's so
I can't.
stupid. But
This is how stupid everybody is.
This is what the Democrats are learning from Trump, right? This is what they're learning. They're learning that the cult of personality is very strong.
Yes.
And Trump, before he became president, was probably the most famous man on the whole entire planet. Everybody knew who this motherfucker was, right? And he wasn't a sports star.
And they laughed at him.
Well, they laughed at him, but they also went along with him, right?
Yeah.
They're also friends with him.
Also, Snoop Dogg, you know.
Also want to be friends with him, right?
All of these people who claim to hate him.
Because he loved that celebrity lifestyle. He loved the yachts. That's what I'm saying. Like,
And they loved him for a long time.
and they loved him. Everybody loved
They
Trump.
hung out with him. They played golf with him. Bill Clinton played golf with him.
Fascinated by him, right? That's why he's such a. That's why I think he's a progressive president more than Hillary would have been, because he's changing the face of politics forever. For good or for bad, he's changing it, and it needed to be changed. It needed to be shaken up, right? Bernie probably would have done it, but Bernie's not a villain, and there are things that need to be done again that a villain needs to do. And
He'll become a villain if he gets enough out of it.
Trump loves to be the villain because Trump doesn't care about, do you hate me, do you love me? He just cares about, are you looking? Are you looking at me? That's all he
Like
cares
this
about.
horse face thing that he said, like,
That's
they
really bad.
really ran with that immediately. I'm like,
Well,
you
I
are
mean-
the dumbest fucking people.
I know, and he's just playing them, right?
It's so fucking obvious.
And we've talked about this before, where it's like two of his best friends in the world, Howard Stern.
And clearly she doesn't have a horse face, but still.
She's not.
She's not Sarah Jessica Parker.
No.
Let's go.
But Trump's best friends are Howard Stern and Vince McMahon, right? Two people that have learned to manipulate the public insofar as maintaining their $1 million empires. Howard Stern, number one in the radio market for 32 years. Number one. Okay, in a field of thousands, he's number one. Vince McMahon, his entertainment company, number one in a field of thousands for decades, right? His wife
And
Linda.
people love to watch people, like, beat the shit out of people.
They love the villains, right? And
They love confrontation.
In wrestling, they call it heel, right? The heel is the bad guy. Babyface
Right,
and
that
heel.
reminds me of Glow. I love Glow.
Right. So you have the heels and the babyface, and Trump's the heel, and people love the heel. Like you look at The Rock, right, as a wrestling personality.
And the media loves him.
And the media loves it because the media, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. I mean, Fox News is doing okay, but CNN and NBC having a hard time before Trump came along. They were having a hard time getting advertisers. They have a hard time finding content.
It's good
Oh
for
my
ratings.
God. Trump came along and just blessed them with this wonderful thing that they
Every
have.
day. And then the whole Kanye thing, and they're like, what is
I mean,
happening?
they must
but
just
you
be-
are salivating, just getting ready to talk
right?
about this.
And so but the media plays the game too.
Yes.
Right? Because the media
and that's
needs
showing that too. If you are paying attention to everything, you are noticing how they are like lapping it up. How they will laugh at along with him sometimes in his press briefings. You don't see it a lot, but like they will do that.
Well, it
and you're
flips
like,
it.
what the fuck? This is supposed to be like the worst thing ever. This is the worst guy ever, and you're like laughing
And
at
it
it.
flips and it flops, right?
Yes.
And I still
It's
think
a quid pro quo.
Well, so my favorite one recently was the George Bush handing a candy to what's her face.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, guys, don't forget George Bush is the literal war criminal. Like,
Literal.
Like Trump has
He's
been
like Hitler.
Trump has
He's
been
also a
doing.
painter.
He is more like Hitler than Trump will ever be.
He
And
is.
I'm like, I will take 1,000 Trumps over one more George Bush ever, because George Bush has actually legitimately done horrible things. He's actually literally cost American lives. Trump has not sent anyone to war. He's kept people in war that are there, but he hasn't started anything new. It's all just kind of continuing what has been going on, which is his job as commander-in-chief, is sort of overseeing
Well,
these things.
what other country is there for war? Like, we're already in so many.
But he hasn't done the things that Bush has done.
Or Obama, for that matter.
And
with the expansion.
Obama too, continuing a little bit of what Bush was doing. In terms
But
of
he
terrorism.
really ramped it up in Syria.
But he had to. We were at a pivot point at that time where that
And Libya.
either going to drag it back or you're going to push it forward, and dragging it back would actually be more costly than to push it forward. So they had to
This
do
is all
it.
about money. It's not about...
Well, it's about money and also American lives. It would have cost us hundreds of thousands.
Oh, yeah.
of
American lives are more important than Middle Eastern lives.
Well, but they're there, right? And I think we can also admit that the Middle East needs to be brought into...
But then you don't do anything when they don't lose their lives and they still are struggling to make ends meet, and they're veterans and they don't get the proper care.
No, agreed. But
so that's where I get lost in the whole, like, oh, the Americans, we have to save them from hurting. You know, we don't want our Americans put out into this, and then they still get hurt in the end.
Well, and we're still here, right? And you look at these things like the VA, for example, which, you know, prior to Trump, the Democrats and the liberals were screaming that the government's mismanaged. The federal government's mismanaged. These agencies are mismanaged. They're top heavy.
They're still mismanaged.
They're corrupted. But so now Trump is
the Department of Education.
And Trump is coming through and gutting the VA right now, right? Because you need to remove that shit out of there because it's being mismanaged. It's top heavy. It's admin heavy.
Oh, and all of the war budget, like the shit ton of money that's going towards the military is absolutely astronomically insane.
And it is, like, because that's the first, what they're doing now is the first step in shoring up our foreign interests to the point where we could back out. And that means we've got to spend a lot of money before we can back the fuck out of there. Because
that we don't have.
But it says all the way it works is it's a circular trade.
They keep creating more money and they give it to themselves and they don't give it to us and we get screwed.
And they renege on their debts.
And then we get a housing crisis. Which is what's coming again. More banks doing bad things and getting away with it.
And that's the next step, right? The banks are clearing out right now because they know the people are coming for them. They know. Trump is the first step in this. He wanted to go in there and deregulate and pull these guys out, but there's no way you can do that. You can't just unplug fucking Goldman Sachs from the government. You can't do that. You just can't do it. There's no way.
So you might as well put them into the government.
You start by limiting their role as much as you can. You can't just pull them out, but you can start chipping away at their influence to start, but you can't just pull them out.
I will say that, like, it's really good to see, but I don't know who's going to replace her because, but Nikki Haley is gone, and thank goodness, and oh my gosh, but like still, who's next? You know, you gotta wonder. But that was a good. I'm glad that she will not be representing the U.S. anymore.
It doesn't really. I mean, to me, that doesn't really matter.
They're spokespeople. They're just, you know, mouthpieces.
Well, and again, it's like
military.
It's another thing
politics.
where a consolidation of power works in this way, right? Trump is a representative of the U.S. right now. He doesn't need a UN representative. He doesn't need these guys because people look at the media and they see what they need to see, and they see what, you know.
They see what they want to see. A lot of the time, they see.
Well, they see what they're told to see, right?
But a lot of it is also cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias. So they see something about Trump. Like, if somebody else saw the thing about Khashoggi and Trump or whatever, they probably go like, oh my gosh, see? So now this is connected to Manafort and all this. Like, they would make all these ridiculous connections just out of one thing.
And that's coming.
You know.
You'll see it. It's coming.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a meme going around right now that I keep seeing on Facebook that's... it has one line that
how's Facebook right now?
Let's
talk about that
for a second. It's a fucking trash pit, but it's also something to
censored a whole bunch of pages.
Bots, yeah, and that's fine. I mean, to me,
but not BuzzFeed.
No. But there's a meme going around where it's like Trump is the worst human I've ever come across. This is what this meme says, right? This is just of nobody, name of person, name of politician.
Have you ever seen him?
Ever come across? I'm like, first of all, you didn't come across anything, okay? What you're seeing is what they want, is what the media wants you to see. You're being manipulated, right? I talked to one of my best friends yesterday about this, and she's always on about these things, and I start to break it down for her and say, look, you're being manipulated. And I know you in life, you hate to be told what to do, you hate to be told what to think. She loves talking to me because I'm very straightforward with her.
Right.
But sometimes I'll push her into territory where she's like, oh, you tell me what to think. I'm like, I know, I'll pull back a little bit. I said, but you let the media tell you what to think. I said, right now you're being told what to think. You're being manipulated. I said, don't you see that? Don't you understand that? Don't you understand why that drives me crazy? Because I look at this stuff and I see my friends being manipulated and I want to stop it. And I want to say, look, don't listen to that. Go look for yourself, or just think for yourself, or think about the opposite of it, right? She's like, oh, well, Trump enables all these people. You know, all these white supremacists and these racists and all. I'm like, enables, yes, but also think about the flip side of that. he's also exposing them. I said that's the important thing, is that, yeah, he's enabling these people coming out and they're doing horrible things because people are horrible people. People are horrible animals. I was like, but these things have to happen before.
Do you want it to be a quiet racism, or do you want it to be overt?
Do you want to bubble under, or do you want to see it right on the surface, right? And it's like, that's because otherwise, if you didn't have these guys out marching with fucking tiki torches and fucking polo shirts on,
right,
what would they be doing? They'd be plumbing another...
And they're making caricatures out of themselves. Just let them do themselves.
And they're getting fired from the jobs. They're doing their things, right? I said, but you don't let them do this. You don't release that pressure. Then you have another Oklahoma City bombing.
Yes.
You have these horrible, like a London
and they don't
train
understand
attacks.
that
No,
there's
they
so
don't,
much
because they're like, well,
animosity towards these people.
They're like, oh, but peace and love, like you were saying, right? Oh, we got to spread love. I was like, yeah, but the problem is that love isn't prevalent right now. That's not how it works. Right now, it's the other side of things. Not necessarily hate. Necessarily, it's the darker side of humanity right now.
But there's hatred on both sides, from what I can tell.
Absolutely, the hatred on both sides.
Like, there's so much hatred for
but
liberals.
one hatred has been boiling, and another one is manufactured, right?
I agree.
The liberal hatred is manufactured,
and then it creates more tension with that other party instead
but more
engaging in a debate with them.
More importantly, it creates a distraction.
Exactly.
And
it's us.
Right, it's
going
ideological
back and forth,
warfare,
while other people are making profits off of our pain and suffering.
Which profit's profit, right? It's a capitalist society, profit's profit. But and how you
but
do.
But they're laughing at us.
Well, of course they are, and we should be laughing too. And I think that's the thing, is that we're not laughing anymore, right? And people don't see the humor in all of this.
Oh my gosh, and all the PC culture and shit. Like,
well, man, another
that.
distraction, right? The liberals again becoming.
They want to control the language now.
They want to control language. They want to control thought. They want to control
and the media.
They want to control the media.
What kind of movies we watch.
Everything, right? We're becoming. I call it the new temperance, right? So in the 1920s and the late 1800s, they had temperance.
I'm loving your silhouette right now.
Oh yeah. So we had temperance.
It's very dark, guys.
So we had the women in the long dresses with the high collars and the straw hats. Banning alcohol, banning sexuality.
Yeah.
We don't want to show the ankle, right? That's all coming back in a way.
Oh my gosh, and feminism is going to turn into more banning of...
Part of feminism. I think that feminism...
The fake feminism that they're showing right now.
Feminism. I think...
Feminism, as I like to call it.
It could absolutely be...
I said that first.
Actually, I did, but that's okay.
In reality.
I coined it 10 years ago, but that's okay.
Okay.
But...
I'll concede to you.
It's okay.
There you go.
But I think feminism can be saved. And I think that yes. I believe in equality, not superiority.
I also do.
And that's what I think the feminist
which is what it is.
Is superiority, right? Is female superiority, which I actually don't have a problem with that. As a man, I'm open to being kept, perfectly open to having a strong woman take care of me and pay my bills.
Like your mama.
My mom didn't do any of that, but
okay.
but to she can go
like a mother figure.
Yeah, I can stay home and take care of the kid, and she can go out and board. That's fine with me. I'm cool with that. Like, that's fucking awesome. I'll stay home and take care of the house. You go out and make money. I'm good. I'm feminist in that way. Like, that's awesome. I agree with that angle of feminist purity. But I don't believe, kill all men, cut their dicks off. I don't understand that thinking, because...
I don't understand that on a social level, where you will see something with someone, they rape someone or whatever, and then you're like, cut off his dick, and put him in jail and have him get fucked, and it's like, how is that helping the situation?
Well, but for actual rapist...
I just don't think more rape is the answer to rape.
But it's justice.
And, it's a vigilante justice that I can't really get on board with.
For an actual rapist,
I need rehabilitation. That's what I look for.
But if you figure, if this guy's raped one woman, he's probably raped other people, and he's not.
But he shouldn't. Nobody should be raped, though. If you're saying one person shouldn't be raped,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
then you should say,
my limit
okay, he shouldn't be raped.
If there's a murder, if someone murders somebody, they should be removed from society forever, because they're cancer. And that's what cancer does. Cancer kills your cells. It kills its own. And you don't negotiate with cancer.
Right.
You don't try to reason with it. You don't put it away in another part of your body and just hope it doesn't do anything. You kill it. And so if someone's going around murdering people, you kill them. You take them out of the equation. No, you do. Because they're a cancer.
But you don't... What if you don't know that they murdered
Well, no, you have to say, but you have to know they did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
If you see someone...
Well, if you know they did, if their DNA's on the thing, if they're spotted.
But I just can't get on board with that, because there's so many instances of justice not being served.
But if they admit to it,
but what if they're insane and they admit to it?
Then there's still a problem, because there's still
they should be in an institution.
But there's still the inclination
not an
there
institution
where they could actually realize these fantasies and commit murder, right? But if you know for
There's
a fact,
so many extenuating circumstances.
but there's also conclusive evidence.
It's not a simple yes or no.
If I stabbed you right now and killed you, and someone walked in the door and saw me kill, they knew I killed you. I'm standing with a fucking knife. It's in my hand. Your blood's all over me, and you're dead. They're gonna know I killed you. I'm gonna say, yeah, I killed her. Kill me, because I'm gonna go and kill other people now that I've got taste for. I'm gonna kill other people, right? So rapists that actually rape somebody, I'm okay with him getting fucked up the ass. I'm okay with that because he's gonna know what that's like. He's gonna know the loss of power that gives somebody, that takes away from people. He's got to understand it, and there's no way. Like I remember, there was an instance where I was eating a Korean barbecue with my friend, and I'd never eaten kimchi before. Neither of us had, and it was on the plate, and so I didn't want to eat it because it smelled bad, and I hate cabbage. But I'm like, I'm gonna try it. So I take a big spoonful, and it tastes like a foot rotting in a shoe. It's the worst thing I've ever eaten in my life. But I look at my friend, and I'm like, this is delicious. Wow, you should try it. And he ate some, and he almost fucking died, and he hated me forever. But I'm like, but there's no way you could have known how horrible that was just by me describing it to you. You actually had to taste it to know how bad.
But
that
maybe
is.
they have. Maybe it's a very big cycle of abuse.
But that's okay.
So most cases they probably have been.
All right. Well, then.
So that's why it doesn't seem like.
Okay. Well, fine. Okay, I was half joking anyway. But
yeah.
But for murderers, I am very pro death penalty as far as
I'm very anti death penalty.
Because I'd rather
anti cruel and
kill them than keep them in prison forever. Because I think prison's cruel and unusual punishment to keep them on death row forever, and not just that, but it's a punishment of the people we're paying to keep them there. Because
I don't believe in prisons. Like I'm very pro rehabilitation centers. I want us to move towards that kind of.
But you have to admit there's some people who are beyond rehabilitation. Like, what do you do with them? What do you do with those guys? There are people that are just recidivists and they're just never going to stop doing what they're doing because they're just aberrations in society. Know. You kill them, or you remove them from society forever, and that you take them out of the equation because they're going to keep infecting other people. Like a Charles Manson.
I don't think anyone should have the right to take anyone out. You can't even trust the people in power. So how can you trust the prison system?
I don't trust the prison system as it is, but I do again trust if I walk into a room and found someone with a fucking knife in their hand and a dead body there, I know that person killed that other person. I know.
And if they come after you, you can kill them, and that's fine. I haven't.
I would. Yeah, if I walked here and someone had murdered you and they were still here, they'd be fucking dead. I would just kill them.
It's self-defense.
And I would take. Well, it wasn't even self-defense to me because they didn't try to kill me; they just killed you. But I would kill them.
But if they came after you, though.
If they came after me, yes, I would kill them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even hesitate. I wouldn't feel remorse over it.
And that would be acceptable.
Right. And it should. But if I can't do it, someone should. Right. If they manage to come and kill me too, they need to stop living. Like they need to stop living because they don't value life. So why should I value theirs?
I think there's just so many psychological factors. It's not.
Well, because you assign that to justify the horror of.
I'm not justifying
the reality
anything.
of this thing, or to mitigate the horrors of the reality.
You justify war. I'm justifying somebody having a very crazy mindset to do something that they wouldn't normally be able to do.
Right, now imagine a whole country full of those people. And they're attacking another...
Those people are in charge of the country.
Right, so imagine them attacking a country that's weaker than them and this other country with no one stand up to
I
them.
feel like the oligarchs should be the only ones in jail.
Well...
only the people in power.
I agree with you, but when you have a humanitarian reason to fight, and there are humanitarian reasons to fight...
I never...
Well, there always are. Again, if you have a nation run by these people,
when are they going to fight Saudi Arabia about the Yemen genocide?
Well, but you don't. But a country like Saudi Arabia, you don't fight them. You take their money because that's what
they give them money. They're going to give them more billions of dollars.
It's going to change as we move away from our dependency on their oil and economy.
It hasn't though.
But it's going to.
They said it was going to change last year.
No, but what did we just talk about? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes 20 years, right? We've been working with these guys for 50 years. We just got to the point now where we're starting to not...
If 9/11 didn't do it, I don't know what will.
It did, though. Right?
No, it didn't.
It turned the attention on that. That was the beginning of the end.
It didn't do shit. They didn't suffer any consequences.
Well, as far as you know. But you don't understand. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes there because
I know their money was involved.
We have been pulling away from them as far as oil dependency going, and we've been putting a little more pressure on them to be.
They gave them more money than ever, like the last.
Well, but that's part again. That's part of it. You got to spend the money to get back out of there.
You don't even have the money. That's what's so annoying about it. It's like we don't have any money.
There's money,
but they're gonna find money for all these other fucking countries, and we get screwed.
There's not just...
There's homeless people in this country, and they're fucking funding Israel and fucking Yemen genocide through the Saudi Arabia. It just makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's not right at all.
It doesn't. But then again, that comes all the way back to what we were talking about at the beginning.
Okay, we're going back, guys.
Right, all the way back to the beginning. So those homeless people, if our government's not taking care of them, if our government's not taking care of them, it falls the American society to take care of their own. Right? Again, going back to the donation of socks, it's going out to free vaccines, things like that, right? To keep these guys clean.
I don't believe in vaccines. Let's not get into that.
Well, stay away from me then. But you're already vaccinated, so it doesn't matter.
Not in that way. I just don't want to get into it.
Well, I disagree with the forced drugging of people. I also disagree with people who choose to not get rubella, getting rubella, or getting polio.
But I think there wouldn't be that if there were people who were decent at the top. But that's another story for another time.
But if you have polio, I don't want to get polio from somebody who just...
But how did polio get to be... Like, how did all these things happen?
Germs, viruses, animal contact, eating of things, plants.
We haven't done enough research, I don't think.
Shit happens. It's like, it's a natural thing. Nature is its own thing.
Bayer, I don't know if you probably heard because you've been around a while, longer than I have. But, they sold these drugs to people in France that gave them AIDS.
Fuck France.
Like, forever.
Fuck France.
Fuck France. Give them AIDS, okay?
Yeah, fuck France, dude. They're horrible.
Nice.
Horrible country.
No, they're not. Not all of them.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Then we go back to that, too, right? How can we own as Americans the things that Americans do? I will hold France responsible for everything that they do because they're a terrible country. They do terrible things to their people.
So is the U.S.
Absolutely, but
and the UK,
but you're not, and I'm
and
not,
Israel,
right? But people look at America and say, "Well, America's a terrible country." I'm like, I'm an American. I'm not a terrible person. I don't believe what my government's doing.
But that's what they show. That's what you see on the
Exactly.
Like if you watch like stuff in Saudi Arabia, not Saudi Arabia. What's another country nearby? Not Russia, obviously. I've seen Russia, and they are very, very harsh on the U.S., but rightfully so, and they're pretty fair. But what's another one? Like Iraq or some shit. Like Iran, whatever. Iran, maybe, for real. Probably hates the shit out of the U.S. and is putting that out there.
Well, because we call them on their bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like that, and that's what you should do if you are in a position of power, is call the bullshit. And and Iran's been going on for a long time on our fucking dime for decades, right? Because there's always money flowing through there from Russia, from us, from China. It's always flowing to the Mideast because everybody.
I don't think there
oil.
should be a war.
But it's not up to us if there's a war or not. Iran can say, okay, fine, you know what, guys? We're going to stop fucking making nuclear weapons. Okay?
Us first, hello.
No,
We've actually used ours.
But Iran can be like, hey, we're going to stop, and we're going to put the money that we're spending on warfare into making our country better. Okay, we're going to do that.
The U.S. should do that too. So
well,
that should
but
be
we
a quick
we can't as long as these people are doing these things over here.
Both people doing this.
As long as people are doing these things, they can't do that. So,
but you can't do that either. You can't put something on someone else that you won't comply to. That's not right.
But okay. So
see what I'm saying? Like the U.S. is the only one that's actually dropped bombs, 2 bombs on a wait, was it 2? 1?
Yeah, 2 bombs on Japan.
2 bombs on Japan, and they're still suffering from it. There's still ramifications.
They seem to be doing pretty okay over there.
Well, I'm talking about...
They gave them a lot of money to be okay. And that's the thing about the U.S. war policy.
Yeah, just throw money at the...
Well, but that's what they want, right? I mean, that's what all these countries want. That's what North Korea...
the people in charge, not the people who get affected.
Well, that's what North Korea wants.
By sanctions.
Right? North Korea wants money. They want money. They want resources. And that's the thing, is that they start a war with us.
Oh, we've gone so far.
Right, but you ever read the book? There's a book called...
No, so far into the podcast.
Oh. There's a book called The Mouse That Roared.
We got to wrap it up pretty soon.
Right. A book called The Mouse That Roared, and it's about a little country that decides they're going to go fight the U.S. And the reason they're going to fight the U.S. is because the country's dying. And if they start a war with the U.S. and the U.S. kicks the shit out of them, they always give money to the people they kick the shit out of. So like the only way to rebuild our country is to let the U.S. destroy it.
Sort of reminds me of like the 1984 because like
same era, same time, same era.
So like
novel.
it's all kind of like it is a chess game.
I
It's
mean,
like all of
it's
these
a
different
satire.
power players
Right. It's actually comedy.
are fucking with each other, but they're not really fucking with each other. But they're fucking with each
Right.
other and they're getting stuff
And
out
the
of it.
best thing that could have happened in North Korea was war with the U.S. Because that would have meant we would have smashed the shit out of them and then build and then
And they
pay them
have
to
forever gotten so much sympathy for it. And there's something to be said for being a victim of something.
Right.
You know, in general.
It just made me laugh that people were scared of that, of Kim Jong-un. Like, I mean, like, oh my God, he's going to nuke us. Like, he ain't going to nuke shit. Like, those guys are so
If
fucked
they
up
wanted
over
to
there.
do that, they would have done that way longer.
No, they're blowing themselves up with their nuclear war. Like, what are we? They don't need us. They're doing a fine job of they're killing themselves. You know, it's like, and that's another Trump thing, right? Like, he was like, okay, fine, we'll brink this with you guys. Brinksmanship, right? We'll come into this thing and we'll push you to the edge. Go ahead, keep talking, Froggy. Let's watch you jump.
And they were so not used to that. The media, not just the media, because they're doing the bidding of all the other people, but like the people who are so used to seeing all of this, you know, back and forth, just very like, you know, professional
masturbation.
You know,
Right.
yeah,
No
masturbating
one's
each
coming,
other all the
everybody's
time.
jerking off, right?
Yeah, and like holding hands and shit with the Saudi Arabia. Like they're not used to seeing like, oh yeah, Rocket Man. Like come on.
And he's speaking the language, right? He's speaking the language. People are
actually
like,
having a dialogue.
Yeah, why? Well, he's speaking in their language.
I know.
They want to talk shit. We got Trump.
They know movies. Like Kim Jong-un likes movies.
Loves movies. Saddam Hussein loved movies, right? He loved Scarface.
Yeah.
He loved Godfather. Like, I mean, they love these gangster movies. And Kim Jong-un loves American culture. I mean, he loves it.
He loves Moon. Moon and Kim Jong-un forever.
Right? And
They're so cute.
Dennis Rodman's over there and bullshit, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's the thing is that we're leveraging all of that against these people. And what happened in North Korea? Suddenly they're not a threat anymore? No one gives a fuck.
Like, that's a huge thing.
Right.
Like, you can, even if you hate Trump or whatever, like, for whatever reason, all these other reasons, you can still say, that was a good fucking move.
And
we shouldn't have a nuclear war with them.
And look what's happening. The burden of revitalizing North Korea is not on the U.S. We kind of broke that down. They're putting the burden of reuniting Korea on Korea. Not on the U.S., not on anybody else, on them. Because South Korea could do this. Kim Jong-un just had to break it down and be like, okay, fine, fuck it. Right? Why you've exposed me for the asshole that I am. And we blew ourselves up at the testing site. We fucking collapsed.
And they don't
mountain.
trust the U.S.
Well, and why should they? But that's a good thing.
And that's good, yeah.
That's a good thing. Because
now they're together on this and they're getting closer.
And they can say fuck the U.S. all they want as
It's
long as they do
awesome.
what they need to do, right?
Yeah.
And the EU's next, right? The EU is next because they're a bunch of fucking assholes over there.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst and they're censoring everybody. And it's just like...
They're the worst. They're the worst and...
They're what we're headed towards if we don't get our shit together.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
like in terms of like the free speech
shit. We would be like
language
that.
shit and...
We'd be like that at every state. Every state was its own country.
Yeah, it would have to be like a state thing,
right?
Like local.
Because that's what the EU is. But like EU tested on Greece, right? Arguably the brownest country in the land. They just completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
Right, and then they set their eyes on Britain, and Britain's like, "Fuck you guys, we're done. Like we don't want anything to do with this. Like you're gonna come over here and put austerity on us? No. We are our own people here." So we're gonna fucking Brexit the shit out of this thing. You can blame all you want on this shit. And they look at the U.S. and the U.S. goes to the Paris Summit and they're like, you know what? We're spending all this money to help other countries come up to code environmentally, and we're spending all this money getting nothing back. We're not getting any of this money. What are you guys doing?
It's a money laundering scheme,
right?
Yeah.
We're putting in triple the amount of money that every other country is putting in for China to up their game environmentally when they can just do it themselves. Instead, they're spending their money on bullshit. So why should we? Trump pulls out of there, and people are like, "Oh my God, he hates the environment." Like, no, he hates the fact that we're spending money on this bullshit, right? Bernie was looking at the same thing. Bernie was saying the same thing in the primaries. Like, we got to relook at this Paris Summit thing. We got to relook at this stuff because we're paying a lot of money into something, getting nothing back. Why are we doing all of these things? Why are we supporting these governments that can support their fucking selves? Why is the EU asking us for help? Why are they? Because they're afraid of Russia? Well, then fucking deal with it. Like, you got NATO? Fuck NATO, dude. Like, they're...
Yes, fuck NATO.
Again, pushing the Russians around like they're assholes.
So sick of NATO.
And then they come back and say, oh, well, Russia's a huge threat. But Russia does pose a threat because they do have separate military factions there. and all this
They have a
technology
huge
that's there.
military
And their military is also splintered, right? There's some people that don't believe in what Putin's doing, that want to do their own thing. And that's why you get these Russian hackers that may have ties to the Kremlin, but they're not tied to Putin. He has nothing to do with that stuff. It's just like
I know nothing about Russian hackers.
There's a great story. Let me tell you what. Just to finish up, there's a great story in Wired last month about these Russian hackers that were targeting the Ukraine banking system, and they ended up infecting the world's largest shipping company with their virus and shut that shit down, and almost shut down the whole world economy just with this one hacking attack on this it's called Maersk, the Dutch shipping company, which is the biggest shipping company in the world. And it was through a stroke of luck that this didn't happen, because somebody happened to have a backup version of the software that kind of runs this whole company on a computer that wasn't networked, and they just found it. They just dug around, they found it. It was an older version, but they found it, and they under guard shipped it in a hard drive over to this thing, and it was very interesting. But the fact that these Russian hackers are so sophisticated. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
But it also proves that,
it proves that the fucking world
they're sophisticated. They know what they're doing. And they wouldn't leave a trace in most cases, has been revealed as something that should be.
And the thing about this virus they used was it was cobbled together from other viruses that had already been existing, and just tweaked a little bit to make it a little more virulent. To be able to use it, and it was and I'm reading this story, I'm like, wow. First of all, it's real journalism, which is interesting to read.
Sometimes Wired engages in that.
And well, it's really because I've been subscribed to a lot of magazines just because I had hey, subscribe to these magazines for $2 a year. I'm like, fuck yeah, and everything. This is the weirdest magazine you can think of. I subscribe to these things, and some of the stories are really great. Garden and Gun is the weirdest magazine I've ever heard of, and so I have that.
I still can't believe that whole article was in Vanity Fair. They have some good articles sometimes.
Well, they have been, for the past 25 years or so, been having they sort of broke the Clinton thing. I remember once the Monica Lewinsky thing was their big thing.
Daily Beast used to be really good too, back in 2015.
Yeah. I like Atlantic. It's liberal, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. Some of them just have surprisingly good
Rolling
articles.
Stone, Matt Taibbi, when he writes about...
even Washington Post has its moments.
They have their moments. Matt Taibbi writes about politics. I enjoy it.
You know who I like, who's a Matt, who's not Taibbi, but very cool. And I just started following him on Twitter because he was saying stuff about Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and hey, wasn't that bad too? But he is such the badass. Whenever you watch him, one of those State Department briefings, he will ask the real questions. And that's Matt Lee from AP. Shout out to Matt Lee. You're awesome. He was giving shit to everybody. From Obama to Trump. He will ask the real questions. And he will demand an answer. And he will make them look stupid when they try to, get out of it.
It's great, it's and I also like Al Jazeera. I like Al Jazeera a lot.
Well, they have their issues.
I don't. But the problem is
their propaganda issues.
I don't see it. I've never seen it.
I do.
And when they tried to launch their America, and I think that the Al Jazeera America thing failed because it's real journalism. It's unbiased journalism. It was just interesting.
There's some biasness. Maybe you're not seeing it, but I'm seeing it.
No, I haven't seen it. I mean, there's editorials obviously that happen.
Syria and everything.
There are op-eds that happen that have bias in them, but I don't read op-eds anymore. I read op-eds are opinion pieces. I don't give a fuck. I just read the news stories. And their news stories are always very hard-bitten and very interesting because they're journalism. And they don't. And
there are still journalists
and there's no
out
Trump
there.
news with Al Jazeera. There's no Trump stuff. There's none of this.
Yeah.
There's none of the circus stuff with them. Because it's all a sham, and it's hard to figure out what's real and what's not.
It is
even for me,
lightning feels unreal sometimes.
Even for me, it's become difficult, and
you can't trust anyone. That's the thing.
Sometimes I want to just give in. Sometimes I just want to give up and just be okay, fine, I hate Trump, and I'll just go on that bandwagon and just start talking shit.
Nobody's worth your hate. Nobody.
But I can get work out of it. You know what I mean? If I start making Trump memes, I can get work. People like me.
We are on the wrong side of.
We can start fighting with everybody, but at the same time, I think but then what does that make me? What do I become?
You lose something of yourself.
I become
when
a pod
you give
person,
yourself
right?
over to somebody, and their ideas.
And it just seems so easy just to stop, let Jesus take the wheel and just move on, because it's just...
Yeah, like every day, it's such a struggle to like just be a sane person or try and be sane as possible.
Because everybody's fucking insane.
Yeah. And at work, it's just like, gosh, shut up.
Right?
I don't care about Paul Manafort.
and it's driving me insane.
Or Papadopoulos or whoever you're talking about
right?
today.
Is that the cost? Is the cost of sanity is insanity? I mean, is that...
Yeah.
And South Park killing it this year. I mean...
I like South Park.
They're killing it this season. And
yeah, I have to watch the next episode.
I haven't seen the most recent one. But
I watched the first episode.
I watched the two of them, 3 of them. But,
It's hard to watch TV because, like, with these apps nowadays, they want to make you pay... Not pay, but give your data over.
This has been very... I don't know how anybody's going to listen to this. I wouldn't be able to listen to this.
Oh.
I mean, it's interesting, but it's just so good. It's just so crazy.
But see, we love each other afterwards.
It's true.
The love is still
this
there.
is nothing. This is nothing. I mean,
this is not an argument. It's an exchange of ideas.
And it's just for me. It's just kind of I'm going to talk to a lot of people. So like when you say come on, I talk like I've never talked to anybody before, and it's like I have a job. Well, I'm around people now. But we rarely talk about politics at work because it's just about Halloween.
We can't, yeah.
It's about Halloween and about fun, And last year before last, I did get into political conversation when Trump was in the primaries. Got in a huge fight with one of my coworkers over this, and had to actually admit that I didn't think Trump was going to win. Just to tell her to shut up because I already knew he was going to win. I already knew from the start he was going to win. And I had to tell her, he's not going to win. Like I'm just playing devil's advocate. But I actually believed what I was saying, and I had to lie to her just to shut her up because she was so mad. Not a very bright person, but so mad.
TDS.
TBS.
TDS. Trump derangement syndrome.
I don't know. Again, I look at the bad and I try to see the good. And there's a very positive thing to all of this that's happening, and it's awareness is being hopefully.
And it's going to get more people involved in doing actual things.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what we ended up.
Don't vote. Go out there and change the world.
And that's what I kind of want to put that on Facebook. I kind of want to put something out like that, where it's like people are like, vote Democrat. I'm like, you know what? We're not fucking Crips and Bloods, all right? It's not about red and blue.
It's not a team thing.
If you feel like no one deserves the privilege of your vote, don't fucking vote.
I agree.
If no one voted, no one wins.
Exactly.
Right? I was like, so it's like I have not voted since Obama. I voted for Obama's second term, but that was the last time. I mean, I voted for Obama the first term. I actually voted for Hillary in the primaries when she ran against Obama.
Oh dear. Never voted for her.
Well, I just thought that
she was such an asshole to him.
She was an asshole, but I didn't trust Obama's politics. Coming from Illinois and Chicago is very dirty.
I shouldn't have trusted him. That was really stupid of me to just ignore the acorn thing.
Well, but there was nothing. There was no alternative, right? So once he was up against, I can't remember who he was running, John McCain. I was actually.
She was helping at the time.
And I was kind of teetering on the edge of McCain and Obama, but Sarah Palin sort of killed the deal. Where I think was the whole point there. Where it's like, I don't even want her to be a heartbeat away.
She was cooler.
I enjoyed her as a presence, as a media presence. I enjoyed her. But I didn't relish the idea of her being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Like, that was like, I'm like, I think that's why they kind of saddled her with him, with her.
I think that's what Pence is he's an insurance policy, too.
Well, but Pence is he's actually a smart person. You know what I mean? It's not a Sarah Palin.
Well, yeah, but he would also do the same things that the liberals, would do behind closed doors without.
And he would play ball. And and John McCain was a confident. I think he would have been a great president. I think he would have been a great president.
We disagree.
He would have been a Republican, but I think he would have been a great president. He's a war
criminal. I don't like war criminals.
He was a prisoner. He wasn't a criminal, but...
No, he committed a crime before he went to...
Well, but it was Vietnam.
It's Vietnam.
The whole thing was a crime.
So was Iraq.
But McCain understood that. He understood the thing. Again, I think we need a soldier there, or someone who understands...
I disagree.
Where he wasn't into war. And I think the fact that he stood up to Bush...
I think if we're going to have a soldier, maybe
when he stood,
it should be someone maybe not her, but like Tulsi Gabbard. Mm-hmm. Somebody who wouldn't take us to war.
Well, I don't think McCain would take us to war either. I think
he was going to go bomb Iran. Bomb,
he said we got to say, right? Because he came up against Bush during their primaries and got ostracized by the Republican Party for it. But he had the courage to stand up to those motherfuckers.
But he didn't stand up to Kissinger, and he was friends with him, and he like called people scum
What are you going to do? You're going to
for protesting.
He's an old man. What are you going to do to the old man?
Oh, I don't care if they're old. They're old fucking
man.
war criminals like Kissinger.
You got to
can
play
all
the
die.
game. You got to play the game. But I feel like once McCain got into office, it would have been a little bit different.
It wouldn't have.
But
nothing ever changes.
I think he would have made a better president than fucking Obama did. But
I mean, I don't know. Neither of us know that, so
I feel like
that's like saying like
I feel like he would.
We don't know if Al Gore would have been a good president.
I would have been a terrible president, but
we don't know.
He lacked the.
He definitely was a criminal.
Criminal.
They're all criminals.
I hate his wife, but I think he lacked the.
Or he associated with criminals.
The perceived backbone that a president needs. I think the rest of the world looked at Al Gore, saw a wimpy guy, just because he has that weird Tennessee drawl.
Lockbox.
Now, by Grand Slam, we'll have fun. I'm playing around.
Anyway, whatever.
But I think
the climate change, global warming at the time.
Global warming is an inconvenient truth. But I think he and John Kerry both lacked that gravitas that a president needs, and I don't think that the world would have taken him seriously. Had they become president, I think that we would have been in a heap of trouble.
So thanks again to Steven Robles. You can see him where?
Right now I'm at Universal Horror Nights, Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights from now through November 4th.
There's a shuttle at the end of the road.
And other than that, nothing. I have nothing going on at all. Nothing.
And you can find me at Elle Latham on Twitter and aka Elle Latham on YouTube.
You can find me on Facebook too. My profile is public. I don't care. And
I'm on Minds. Just look up Elle Latham. I don't really do much, but if you want to read a poem or something, go on in there.
Minds?
Minds.com. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and you have a wonderful evening and morning.